Hey, Steven, I'm out here. I'm a second shooter. I'm such a second shooter. I'm so good at being a second shooter. I don't enjoy being a second shooter, by the way. I mean, I'm out here producing and shooting and watching bowlers, the best bowlers in the world.
Steven, how in 2025, the year 2025 of our Lord, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, does internet suck at a hotel?
Is it that bad?
Well, yeah, I can barely load porn. I can barely load a normal website.
It's your daily driver, right?
It's just like, how is it even possible that I'm getting 8 up and 8 down barely?
8 up and 8 down isn't terrible, but it's when you don't even have like 1 up or 1 down. That's when it's like, oh my God, this internet doesn't even exist.
Well, and this is one of those long-term stay places. You would expect that they would have some good internet. So then they offer you, like, for $4.95 a day, you could get the faster internet. So I couldn't even get that to pop up. I couldn't figure out how to reset the entire thing so that shit popped up on my screen, and I forgot my network. I reset. I cleared cookies. I did the browser. I did all of that stuff, and still I couldn't get it to reset. And then so I go downstairs, and the guy at the counter is like, our internet's not very good. And I'm like, okay, what about the pay internet? He's like, that internet's not any good either. He's like, Marriott wants us to downgrade our internet. I'm like, that makes lots of sense. I'm going to talk about this on my podcast, which I didn't tell him. I just thought it. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. It's obviously not his fault. He doesn't have control over it, so I'm not going to be an asshole to him. I would use my tethering data on my phone, except for the fact when I was in Hawaii and we had shitty internet in Hawaii at the hotel, I needed to upload 11 gigs. So I used all of my tethering data on my phone, which was like 30 gigs, which I didn't even know was a thing. I thought you could just tether with unlimited data. And I got around that by sending like an 11 gig file to my phone, the video that I needed to upload for you guys to edit, and then uploading it with Wi-Fi data. So it was like, I was able to do that, but I can't tether because it downgrades it to 128 KB, which is literally, you can't load a page at 128 KB because images are more than a megabyte. So it's just stupid. So it's like, one thing I could travel with a hotspot, one of those Sony hotspots, but for as much as I actually do it, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm in Fair Lawn, Ohio currently doing the Tournament of Champions, which is taking place on Saturday and Sunday. Well, it's taking place all week, but the finals are on Sunday, and it's on Big Fox on Sunday. I'm not even sure what time. And Saturday is the 9 through 5 part of the finals, where it's a step ladder where 9 plays 8, plays 7, plays 6, plays 5. And then the winner of that goes on to this big show on TV the next day. So you guys could tune in and listen, or tune in and watch, because this will be out by then. But yeah, I'm in Ohio, and then I'll get all the texts like, "Hey man, you want to get a beer in Ohio?" I'm like, I'm working.
Ohio.
People sometimes don't realize, like, I'm actually working, and it's like, I won't meet with it. Like, and when everyone's like, "You want to do lunch?" I'm like, no.
I mean, even when we travel together, we don't really do anything but work most of the time. It's usually never pleasure. It's always business.
I mean, I would like to be able to have scheduled actual stuff to do.
I think what it is that you schedule yourself so you get in the same day everything starts, and then you leave the same day everything ends. You really don't give yourself some wiggle room to do other things.
I had an opportunity to get to stay and do like a Cleveland Indians game, because they're not called the Indians anymore. They're the Guardians, and they're playing the, what are they called? The Yankees. They're playing the Yankees on Monday, but there's like a 60% chance of rain, and I can't bring my 4x5 because, again, when you fly out of Philly into these smaller airports, you're on these commuter jets, and you can't even take your gear on the plane, and it creates a whole nother. I had to deal with that again, being told that my bags are 3 now, and I have to go out and check the one. I'm like, she let
Same
me
issue?
on, but it's, yes, very similar. And it seems to be in Philly, because the other airports are like, no, that's 2 bags. You have a personal item and one to go on board, and one's going underneath. Like, it's going underneath. Same issue. And it's just always a repeatable thing. But luckily, now she let me do it. And I actually knew one of the bag handlers, this guy, Cliff. He used to be my dad's FedEx driver back in Philly, in Bucks County, where my dad lives.
Small world.
And Cliff took care of the bag. But the woman the gate agent was like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, she just relented. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what would you like me to do? Same thing as always. I'm like, I'm showing you I have 2 bags to start.
Is it like a good old passive aggressive, like, it's fine. Fine.
Right. Like, but what do you mean? I'm like, can I talk to a manager, please? Because I just dealt with this last week, and you literally see me with 2 bags. You know, same thing as before. I'm like, well, you'd have to check that before you come through. I'm like, that makes no sense.
But again, you're just simply bringing it up to the gate for them to check it from there, correct?
Right. But she's like, well, you can't do that on these planes. I don't know. Maybe there is a rule for that, but it just doesn't sound like it makes any sense, because the bottom of the plane is open, and that is where our gear is. It's where everybody's bags are going. So it's like, how is it any different? It's just stupid.
Yeah.
It is really stupid. Whatever. I'm here in Fair Lawn. We're doing the tournament. We're making the bowling show. This is our last event that we're covering, and hopefully we can get the rest out.
How's all of that going?
I mean, it's a small crew. You'd be amazed what you can do with a main shooter, a producer, me, and I'm a producer also, and like a PA, well, and a sound guy. You know, having a sound guy is integral to everything, because he can mic multiple people up and just be recording the whole time. And then what's great is I have an IFB, is that what it's called? Where I can put it in my ear and hear all channels of audio. Okay. So I can hear all 4 guys that are mic'd, so
all
I know if something's...
Yeah.
Well, if something's happening. Now, what I won't do is put on the walkie-talkie for them to communicate with me, because I don't want something in my left ear and my right ear, and it's just the walkie-talkies suck. I just, like, they kept falling out of my ear. I'm like, I'm not doing this. So then they, like, have the PA hang by me.
Charlie Brown style in your ear.
Basically. I mean, it would be helpful to have comms where they're like, Jared, we need you on lane 6, or this is happening, but that's not how it is. I'm going to start bringing my own in-ears, except that would only let me do it with one. There really needs to be an app these days that someone makes for an iPhone, for AirPods, that actually works, where you can control the right and the left AirPod wirelessly. Like, there's got to be somebody working on that app so that an audio engineer guy can transmit it, and that would be great, because we all have these and they're just so useful, in my opinion.
Until they fall out, like mine.
Well, it's because you have fucked up ears.
I know a lot of people with AirPod issues where they just fall out of their ears. I'll just be walking around the house talking to you on the phone or something with my AirPods in, and just boop, just slips right out.
I'm talking about AirPod Pros. Stop being cheap and get a real set of AirPods.
I've bought like 3 pairs of AirPods at this point. I'm not going to buy a 4th pair. I barely use them to begin with, because I usually use my the Sony over-the-ear headphones half the time.
You still like those?
Oh, I love them. I've talked about this before, but the noise canceling is just insane.
The best noise cancellation ever on headphones that I've ever used were the Apple...
The Maxes?
Expensive ones that I ended up returning because they just squeezed my head. Yeah, the Maxes. They squeezed my head too much. They sounded great, and they had the greatest noise cancellation, but they just didn't do it. They just didn't do it for me.
Another incredibly expensive Apple product.
Anyway, now that we get this out of the way with shitty Wi-Fi, hopefully we're doing this good, or doing this well.
It's tough too, because I can't see you this week. We're just doing this via audio over Zoom. So
I'm deep throating a banana right now, and you can't tell.
It's a lot harder to not talk over each other. And
that's a big banana.
You sure that's a banana?
Hey,
who else is in that room?
John,
I can't
stop.
see.
John, put that away.
Is there 13 guys in your room? What is going on?
Hey, excuse me. It was a Bukkake Fest last night.
What's that?
Fair Lawn, Ohio.
Please explain.
Well, get out the Google and type in Bukkake.
Is that with a K or a C?
Well, we're not talking about the president of wherever Trump is sending people to go to prison. That guy's name's Bukkake, or Bukiki, whatever his name is.
Oh, man.
Anyway, I can't see Steven. He can't see me.
I may or may not be giving you the middle finger right now.
It wouldn't be the first. Dude, there's this 7-year-old girl that's running around the bowling center. She comes with her mom.
Yeah.
And she's nut punching everybody.
Oh, man. Her mom's like, don't trust any men. You hit them right in the junk.
Well, what was crazy is, I mean, she goes around and she's she's the sass level on this little girl is the most, and she's at a lot of the events, but the sass level is insane.
Is it like a finger tap or is it like a smack?
Well, let's just say she took a water bottle and shoved it into the guy's nuts that was next to me when she was doing whatever she was doing. So when she was talking, she gave me the finger. Well, she didn't give me she gave me the pinky, and I'm like, wrong finger, little girl. That's what I said to her. I'm like, what's that? What's a pinky? And then somebody's like, that's some new. I'm like, I don't even know this Gen Z shit. And then she was like trying to talk to me, and I instantly like protected myself. And then she tried hitting me. I was like, someone want to get their feral little child, please? Like anybody? And that's just a side note. If you come to the bowling, you might need to wear a cup. Anyway, what we've got coming up today, a real ID discussion, because that's something that affects everybody here in the United States as of now. We've got that Rachel Stern girl, photographer, sorry, should call her a woman. Rachel Stern, actually, I don't know her preferred pronouns. I didn't check her website. If I had to guess, they are probably they, them. If you watched my Insta stories, when I went to the art museum the other day, you would have seen... we're going to talk about that in a second. I don't even want to try to beat around the bush because I did say who the photographer, I mean, it's hanging in a museum, so it's rife for commentary because it's literally hanging in a museum. So we're going to talk about that. Canon raising their prices. Viltrox 35 1.2 is officially out, which we've had for months, and they released like months ago, but didn't announce. It's like a whole weird stuff.
Don't say anything, but you can talk about it, but you can't talk about it. Really odd.
And I'm also under the gun here because I'm supposed to run over to the bowling center, even though our call time is at 12. I'm going to end up going 2 hours early because there's some sort of controversy brewing, and I want to go get some answers to that. Bowling show stuff.
There's a little girl running around hitting guys in the nuts.
It's not her. It's not her.
We need backup.
So... where should we start? Should we start with, let's go with Real ID. Real ID is some bullshit they started to try since 2006, where it's a new form of ID that's considered to be more protective because it's real. And I sit there and go like, my ID, my current ID that I had to show a birth certificate and all this other forms of ID is not real. And so what they're saying is that I believe it was, the date is May 7th is when at that point, in order to fly, you will need to use your real ID or a passport because your regular ID no longer will be real enough. And it's like, I heard the stat in PA, it's 23% of the people have updated to the new real ID. And I didn't, and I just did my thing in January. I honestly wish I did so I didn't have to deal with it, but I have a passport. But the fact that you're going to need to domestically fly and have a bullshit real ID and my regular driver's license doesn't count is complete and utter bullshit.
There's no way there's not going to be some sort of grace period or extension because nobody
They've extended it for years.
But mainly because of the pandemic, they really extended it 1 year and then another year and another year and another year. And now this time they're like, it's May 7th, no matter what. Everybody needs a real ID.
It's just like, I guess I don't know if I need to go. I know I would have to go back to the DMV and I would have to bring my driver's license. Sorry, I don't even know what I would need to bring. If my driver's license wouldn't it be funny if your current driver's license was not an acceptable form of identification for your real ID identification process? Wouldn't that be insane?
Yeah, because you already need, at least in Jersey, you need the whole 6 points of ID, of documents to prove that you're that person, to get your driver's license. And then it's kind of the same process for the real ID. Let's see, 2 proofs of residential address, 1 proof of social security number, and then 6 points of ID. But I feel like since we already did the whole 6 points of ID, I should be able to just bring my driver's license, and that alone should count as the 6 points of ID.
I feel like I should be able to bring my goddamn passport. It'd be like, and my global entry. I'm like, I have all of this shit. How can't you just like be like, if you have a passport, you automatically will get sent a real ID? Because if you have a passport, you've already gone through the same process. It's a fucking passport. It's just another stupid bureaucratic thing. And honestly, I think that they might start to do this. You can't vote unless you have a real ID thing. You know, another way to try and keep people from voting.
So it looks like, real quick, I'm just checking the point system over here on this PDF from the Real ID website. It says your passport counts as 4 points out of the 6 combined points for primary ID. And then your driver's license only counts as 1 point. And then on top of that, you need proof of full social security number and 2 proofs of residential address.
Well, what the fuck? It's like, whatever. Fuck them. I think they're going to extend it again, even though they say they're not doing it this time. It's just like most of the country will not have it. So I don't know. Do you guys have this? Have you gotten your real IDs? You could text us. The number is down below in the description. I don't even know what it is. I don't have my note from home.
313-710-9729. So my license is about to expire in late July, so I'm hoping to get a real ID soon. I need to schedule an appointment. My dad just got his done, but his license wasn't expiring, and he said that they make priority appointments, the DMV here, at least in New Jersey, for anyone that has their license expiring in the next 3 months or so. But if you don't have an expiring license and you just want to make a random appointment, they're booked for the next like 6 to 7 months. I think there's no way people are going to get this real ID in time, at least in May.
It's gonna be May.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I've had enough of this real ID talk because I think it's stupid. It just like, what's the ID bin that I've had all along isn't real enough for you?
Like you said, a passport should supersede like every type of proof of ID. That should be enough to just be like, hey, here's my driver's license and my passport, and give me a real ID. That's all I need. Instead, I still have to go through the whole entire process and bring everything to prove again that I'm Stephen Eckert.
Honestly, when we're born at this point, I think we should all be, no, I'm not saying put a digital fucking chip in us or anything, but we have our eyes, we have our face. There's so many points of like, look at Clear, right? When you go to an airport and they have Clear, what Clear has done is verified you are who you are, and it uses your face and it scans it and you go right through, right? Like digital forms of ID, or our freaking eyes, our fingerprints, like literally it's what Apple is working on. Apple has been working on this for your computer where you don't need to type in passwords anymore. You just use your face or you use your finger and it loads your password information, because they're trying to do away with passwords, which I don't know how you then share something if you need to share something because someone else needs to log in. Like, I don't know how that all works, but
yeah, good point.
You know, there's that. So anyway, moving on. I went to the art museum for whatever reason. It was like Saturday and I wanted to change it up a little bit. So I went to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. For those who don't know what that is, it's where Rocky ran up the stairs. That's where everybody knows it as the Rocky Stairs. And we could just call it the Art Museum because that's the art museum. And they had this really cool exhibit called Boom. It was like design and art of the 1940s.
Made by the Costco boys.
Oh, shit. No, that's 5. Boom. That's 5 big booms, Stephen.
We got a chocolate chip cookie.
Chunky chocolate chip cookie. It's a chicken bake. That's right, Dad. I'm 12. It's like every time you hear interviews with them, like they listen to the Big AJ or Big AJ, whatever the fuck. No, not
Justice,
AJ.
right?
Big Justice is talking, and the kid's balls haven't dropped yet. He needs the 7-year-old to kick him into gear. But just like he's sitting there, he's like, we have 12 editors. And then AJ's like, no, actually, it's not that. And so his dad corrects him. And then, of course, the kid like snaps right into the PR gear because they've practiced what he needs to say. And then he's just talking. They're like, Big Justice, are you like the best baseball player ever? Well, I haven't hit my growth spurt yet, but if I do hit my growth spurt, it's like you no 12-year-old talks like that. No 13-year-old talks like that. That's daddy being like, well, son, you haven't hit your growth spurt yet. And so he's just parroting what his dad has to say.
You sound like the animated spoof.
Yes,
AJ.
I do.
If you guys haven't seen it, just type in Costco guys in YouTube, and the first thing that pops up is called We're Costco Guys, and it's like an animated parody about these two, and it's funny.
Thankfully, they've not proliferated too much into the pop culture after their first big boom of last year. I just think they've fallen off because no one gives a shit about how many big booms something gives because you're getting paid. Now, I'm glad they're getting paid. If advertisers think there's value and they can make money, I'm all for it because, business and all. But anyway, Philadelphia Museum of Art. Yeah, so I went out, changed it up. They had the Boom 1940s art and design. And so it was awesome because I love mid-century design. And so they had some Eames stuff, and that's like the Eames Lounge from Herman Miller, but earlier stuff where you could start to see in the 40s the design was starting to shift to these curves and not straight lines and doing like different materials, and it was the dawn of the mid-century modern type furniture, which I absolutely love. They also had some photos hanging there. They had a Gordon Parks, which was not the best Gordon Parks in the world, but it was still an original Gordon Parks. And then they had Sunrise over New Mexico, I believe, is the Ansel Adams. They have that one, the very important one that people like. And I got him. Whatever's happening to me, I don't know if it's menopause or what, but like I feel like tearing up at these things. I feel emotions when I see some of this stuff, and I don't know why.
It's the power of art, Jared.
But then the other side of it, well, I start to feel anger when I look at this Rachel Stern stuff.
That's just normal. Normal Jared.
Yeah, that's normal Jared. But seeing the Ansel Adams thing was like, I guess just seeing the recognition that thing has. And I'm trying to decipher the edits because they definitely burned in the sky. And it's just so many edits that were done. But it was, the thing that is considered to be one of the most famous photos ever. So I found that to be interesting. But then they also had a gallery exhibit for studio photography. And you know my take on studio photography. I think it's mostly bullshit. But it was all done from the archives of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. So they pulled different images. So I go up into that room and into that gallery. There's a couple of rooms of it, and there's some daguerreotype stuff. There's wet plate. There's just cool things from the 1800s and some the stuff from the 1930s. And then I come up on this art. I use that term loosely. I come up on these two prints on the wall, and let's just say they're two dudes that are almost naked that definitely look effeminate, and they're in it just garbage. I'll just say garbage. So I'm reading
like
it, and
it's right up your alley.
Yeah, beautiful. Reading it, and the photographer's name is Rachel Stern, and she was born in 1989. And nothing wrong with hanging in a gallery and being born in 1989. That's only 8 years younger than me. And then it's like shot on film in 2018 and printed in 2019. And I'm like, I went off on it, and you can hear it on my Instagram. I think it's under Fro76. And the crazy thing is, I'm standing in the corner of the gallery going, this is fucking garbage. Like I get, and what's happening behind
critiquing the work? What?
Yeah. But what you don't know was if you listen to the video, you might hear Mary Had the Little Lamb playing behind me, because there was one of those bring your kids, your toddlers to the art museum to read stupid fairy tale books or whatever in the gallery. And so there's like 30 kids behind me, like singing Mary Had a Little Lamb as I'm sitting here cursing out this photo on the wall quietly. And I'm trying to be quiet so the kids can't hear me. But it was just like, I'm just like, I have to say something. And if you look at, so I'm looking at her photos. My dad's art teacher, who I'm in contact with, follows my Instagram. Actually, I sent her this stuff. I'm like, this is garbage. She's like, it's a play on patriarchy. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's meant to reflect what a painting would look like, but in a photograph. I'm like, no. I'm like, it's a shitty photograph. There are people out there who can make photographs look like paintings because and Steven's point was, they're not even lit well.
My point was that it looks like it was a bunch of adults playing dress up and someone taking a snapshot in the corner with shitty decor.
And that's exactly what it was. Because when you read it, it's Rachel Stern used a part of her New York City apartment to turn it into a studio. And it looks like it.
It doesn't even look like it was lit, though. That's the other thing that kind of blows my mind. It's considered studio photography, but to me, this almost looks like it was just straight up like overhead lighting and someone taking a snapshot in the corner. You can make something look really solid. Like take Lindsay Adler, for example, and have her on this assignment, and she would blow you away with what she could create in a corner of an apartment. But this, to me, makes it look like someone took a camera that they don't even know how to use and took a snapshot of friends playing dress up.
That's exactly the point I was going to make with Lindsay Adler is
yeah?
Her stuff. Well, yeah.
Her stuff blows me away. I mean, talk about an artist.
Yeah, that is true studio. I'm drawn to photojournalism myself. I'm not drawn to studio work, except when it's like done really well. But then I'm like,
when you craft it right, when you light it right, when you can really fine tune the lighting and make it not look like studio work, that's where it shines.
with Lindsay, it's you've got painted models, and I'm not a fan of that myself. Not saying it's not executed perfectly and beautiful stuff. I'm not drawn to it because to me it's set up, and I don't like set up anything.
You don't like when people don't look real, right? That's kind of the point you're making, it seems.
Yeah, I like authentic, but
yeah.
You know, Steven went and found something. Okay, anyway, wait, I'll get back to that. I was telling the art teacher that this is bullshit, and she's trying to come up with something, trying to tell me, and I'm like, no, you're wrong, because I read what the girl wrote.
You just don't get it, Jared.
Right. It's art. And just because you have an art degree doesn't mean that you automatically get it over me, because art is supposed to be a discussion, and it's in the eye of the beholder. And I'm not upset that this girl is hanging in the woman. Are her pronouns on her website, Stephen? Have you discovered this yet?
Yeah, I looked at her bio. It does say she, her, all of that. She doesn't specifically list them, but...
Tokens of Comrades is a section on her website. It says Tokens of Comrades. Oh, that's where you found the dick pic? These are the biggest... This is a bunch of fucking garbage. If you go to her website and you click on... Look, I'm trying not to... I'm trying, because this will be sent to her, obviously. Someone's going to do it, and I'm going to get like, how dare you? I'm like, well, no, it's art, and we're commenting on it because it is in a public domain at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and I'm giving my take. Steven sends me a picture. He's like, how about this one? And it's a penis, flaccid penis with lots of bush. And
I didn't send you that.
Oh, you didn't send me that?
Somebody else sent you that.
Who sent me the penis?
I don't know. It was not me.
It was you.
I didn't send it.
You sent that to me.
No, I did not.
Someone else sent me the penis?
I haven't looked at her website until like 5 minutes before the show started.
Who sent me this then? I know who sent it to me. My friend Taylor sent it to me. Oh my God, there's more penises on here.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Steven, of course you are.
Hey. Whoa.
Yeah, more penises. So basically, if I was to describe this page to you, it would be very effeminate men in different various poses. Like, for one, we've got I guess this guy would be considered an otter. I don't know the difference between a twink, a bear, and an otter, but I'm thinking he's half hair, but he's not like a bear. He's literally raising his arm up. He's got hairy armpits, hairy fucking chest, and he's got rhinestones attached to his arm, underneath his arm. And the same thing for the dick pic. It's wrapped with some bullshit, and then how is this art? It's bullshit. I'm just going to say it's bullshit. So if you look this up.
Have you seen the close-up shot of the Fruit of the Loom underwear?
Yeah, why?
It's just a random butt shot of a guy wearing Fruit of the Loom, and it's zero. See, it almost looks like, too, that there's zero editing, and I don't get it. These are clearly like straight out of camera JPEGs. I don't know.
Steven, you just don't understand.
I really don't.
You don't understand the art that's going on here. You don't understand Rachel Stern's art. Rachel Stern, born 1989, New York City, is a photographer why can't you just write about yourself? I'm a big fan of just saying it yourself on your own website, because unless you can attribute the writing to an actual an author, unless someone wrote an article about you and you're taking a quote from it and you quote and link to the article, you shouldn't be writing about yourself, in my opinion. You should just write in the first person, like, hi, my name's Rachel Stern, born 1989, whatever. I'm not critiquing her website. Is a photographer whose work considers the intersection of beauty and power. Her photo-based installations turn to the tableau and the proscenium, I didn't go to school, creating dialogue between the histories and use of kitsch and leftist aesthetic. Free Palestine is what I'll say. Using materials culled from strip malls and thrift stores, she creates images
That's exactly what it looks like. Materials culled from strip malls and thrift stores.
There's more, Stephen. To enter into a discourse of accessibility and, well, then if it's accessible, why aren't there any dicks in wheelchairs? And in the spirit of bread and roses, demand immediate access to beauty. Her work images a world. I think she meant to say imagines a world. This isn't me not being able to read, but her work images a world that might be built out of the world that is. It is a kitsch, KTSCH, kitsch, paradise. Here we go. A queer washed history. Oh, that's the word I was looking for. Everybody looks queer in these photos.
Yeah.
That's the definition. An attempt at hope. You know, this is why you lose elections. I'm just going to have to say that right now. This is like the reason you lose elections, because you
Definitely
get so far.
a Republican.
You get so far down this hole where you can't even see the forest for the trees. And you think if someone isn't like all in with pronouns that you can't vote for them. Anyway, she received her BFA in photography at the History of Art and Visual Culture in 2011 from the Rhode Island School of Design, RISD. Attend Skowhegan in 2014 and graduated from Columbia University in 2016 with an MFA in Visual Arts. Wow, all that says is you're in a lot of debt and you can't make money.
Art degree, great.
She has exhibited her work at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, Baxter Street, Brandeis University, by the way, is a Jew college, Ortega Y Gasset Project, Invisible Exports, now called New Discretions, and Asaya Geisberg Gallery, among others. Her work has been featured in Bomb, the Brooklyn Rail Interview Magazine, the Boston Globe, the New York Times, Vice, Hyperallergic, and Matt Magazine. She's a regular contributor of photo illustrations to the New York Times and the Associated Press of Photography at Union College.
It says, and an assistant professor of photography, not Associated Press.
Did my eyes
Yes.
read something wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, Stephen. It says this is why I failed fucking tests.
Every time I read along with you and you're reading something, you butcher like half of it because your eyes just like, your brain thinks it's a different word.
It does. It clearly. And then currently it says Lover's Eye currently on view at A Hug from the Art World. And then if you go to her Instagram, you can see pictures of her. You could see pictures of her art. And if you scroll down far enough, of course, you end up seeing, as a Jewish woman, her Free Palestine information on how you can buy pictures to support her brethren in Palestine. That's its story for a totally different day. The moral of the story here is it's really terrible, the photos. And I just don't think people are afraid to speak about it, but they'll talk behind closed doors about it. I mean, yeah, do I feel good ripping on someone? Not exactly, but it's contrived. It's just so over the top that, oh my God, I want to go into it. It's like when you go to a movie premiere for an art house thing and everybody's like, this is incredible. And they're clapping as if it's the greatest thing ever. And you sit there and you look around and you're like, did we just watch the same thing? Or did we look at the same thing? Because I just think people think that everybody claps and this is the thing you're supposed to do. And then you go and talk shit behind their back. I just think that's what people are used to instead of having the discussion up front. Look, from a technical standpoint, did she capture an image? Sure. Is what she's capturing considered good, in my opinion? No. It just seems so over the top, and it finds that market, which is the leftist, queer, pronoun-driven market, and it's like, well, they usually don't, well, do they have money, those young people? Not usually. Not usually. So I don't know where I don't know. Stephen, that's all I got. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm really not sorry.
I don't understand it either. I'm all about being an artist and creating what you want and making what you believe in. But I don't know how stuff like this ends up in an art museum personally. I don't know how a director of an art museum approves something like this. I don't know how someone with, I mean, her following is not even that big. Like, how does she even, is it someone she knows? Does she have an in?
Excuse me, Stephen. The size of your following does not reflect your worth as a human being, okay? Oh, wait, that's my thinking.
How is she even getting recognized? Like, is she reaching out to them and saying, hey, I have this great project?
What happens, in my opinion, is a wealthy donor or person, somehow a friend, a family friend, someone you know is into that world. And they're like, well, this would be really, I love this. So they like buy it. Who knows what they sold it for? And they donate it to the museum. And so they take, they're donated to the museum for a showing, or they had like someone paid a lot of money to have a queer exhibit. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying in the art world, if you sponsor something or it's sponsored, you can then exhibit shit. And that's might be what happened. It's just, you guys go take a look for yourself and tell me what you think on that text number. I'm just of the school of thought, like, we're going to have a discussion about it. You have to talk openly and honestly. You can't beat around the bush. Trying to do it respectfully. I don't know this person personally. I didn't comment on them personally. I commented on the work that is presented and how it's presented and my thoughts on it. Someone does the same stuff for my work, but they're just wrong when they talk about my work because my work is tremendous.
And also, just at the end of the day,
Steven, you have no comment on me being pretentious right there?
I mean,
You're so used to it
I'm
that
just
you just
so
let it
used to
slide?
it at this point. But I just also, when you don't, there's so much I want to say. There's a difference between artists and artistes, in my opinion.
I agree. Like Pollock, who I saw in Boom, they had this beautiful painting of Pollock from Jackson Pollock, where it's called Male and Female, and it just looked like someone literally diarrheaed color onto a canvas, and the art teacher. So basically, I'm saying it's garbage myself, but. Like, who says the art? Who's the arbiter of what's good and bad when it comes to art? I said that. I'm like, I'm not the arbiter of what's good and bad. I have an opinion, but the art teacher, I just like calling her the art teacher. She's like, it's male and female, and it's very sexist because the male has math written all over their body and this and that, like science, and women, they just have like eyelashes and makeup, and that's all women were perceived as. I'm like, I get it, but I don't even see a male or a female in this picture, in this painting. It doesn't make any sense. It's literally just colors on a canvas. And if you weren't told that it's worth 100 million, you wouldn't know that it's worth 100 million.
I'm all about people expressing themselves, for sure, of course. Again, that is true art at the end of the day, but I think there's a difference between that kind of art where it's just throw stuff on the wall and call it art versus taking real, true, raw talent of somebody, say, making a masterpiece. Usually
starving artists end up starving because no one wants that stuff.
I don't understand it. I don't know if that's saying I'm not smart enough to understand it, or if it's just like trash. To me, it's the latter, but clearly people consider it art.
No one's buying that for their wall. Someone is, but not for. When she was doing her Free Palestine stuff, because I looked, it was like $15 for a print or $40 for a print. It's like, you're not going to make that much money. You're not going to raise that much money for selling stuff at that cheap to nobody. So moving on, it looks like Canon Rumors is suggesting that Canon might be raising their prices 7 to 8% and to expect delays on products. I don't think there's any validity to that right now. I think most companies don't know what the hell's happening to then go ahead and make a actual choice right now.
Yeah, it looks like Canon Rumors is saying we have been told that Canon USA will be raising MSRP on products across its entire line of consumer products. How much prices will go up is unknown at this time, but with the possibility of the price increases coming sometime in the next 2 weeks, we won't have long to wait. And then they just posted actually an update yesterday saying Canon USA price increases will happen before the end of April. It's possible that we'll see them as early as April 21st, which is the day after the current Canon USA rebate program ends. So we'll see. I think it's just more of like an inside source is telling them, but they're saying before the end of April, as early as April 21st.
I'm sure everybody's going to be in the same boat right now trying to decide what to do with the pricing. Will it lead to delays? Yeah, because if companies are going to put stuff on a boat and then somehow it's going to be tariffed by the time it gets here, like they just don't know, and no one knows. And so that makes it more difficult to plan for the coming months, which means everybody just stops doing anything. So instead of making decisions, they just stop and everything freezes because they have no idea what to do and they don't want to make a decision. So they end up making no decision, or the decision is to not do anything until there's clearer answers, and you're not getting clearer answers anytime soon.
I'm actually browsing B&H right now, and I will say the R5 Mark II has a pretty awesome deal right now where it's $39.99 and you get a free vertical grip on top of that. So,
but that's a pretty good deal. Maybe they're just trying to, I don't know why you would try to clear out inventory of the cheaper stuff, especially if stuff's going to go up in price. But if they're running a nice deal like that and you're waiting for that type of camera, then I'd totally go for it.
I would jump on that right now. Yep.
We have to make the switch over in the studio from R5s to R5.2s anyway.
Yep.
We'll be doing that with the help of Canon, because you know that we have a shot on Canon in the studio when it comes to video. So we're working on making that switch out, which will, I don't know how much that changes. We still like, R5s still look great. Viltrox. Let's move on to the Viltrox thing because I have to head over to the bowling center in a few minutes. Viltrox officially released their 35 1.2 for Sony E-mount, and they told us last second, they told us that it was coming for Nikon, and then they said that it's going to be coming at a later date for Nikon, but it's coming for Nikon, and I used it down in Florida and photographed Mystery Man and the New York Mets. And for a inexpensive, I say inexpensive in comparison to the other 35s that exist, it's a $999 lens. That's a 35 1.2, where Nikon's is $2,800 and Sigma's, when it came out, was $1,900. This at $1,000 is pretty enticing for somebody who wants to get in a 1.2 on a Sony E-mount camera and in the future Nikon. You saw the results, Stephen. What did you think of the results without knowing anything else? Like if you weren't looking at what lens took it, what'd you think?
I think it looks great. I was questioning some of the vignetting, some of the heavy vignetting, but your editing tends to add to that vignetting most of the time with heavy contrast and stuff like that. Also, we didn't have a lens profile yet. That's the hard thing about doing some of these lens reviews early when we get pre-release lenses and stuff like that. Sigma will at least give us a lens correction profile that we can import manually in Lightroom. For some reason, Viltrox does not offer that. I'm not sure why. But that was my only gripe with the lens, was just the vignetting was a little heavy. But besides that, for the value, $1,000 for a 35 1.2, when you put it up against something like, again, the Nikon for $2,800, a third of the price pretty much, or even the Sigma. You're saving 50%. It's $1,500, the Sigma, and their version 2, which has been rumored to be coming out. Actually, not even rumored. I think they officially announced that they're working on a smaller and lighter 35 1.2. I assume that's going to be at least $1,500, probably $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, especially after Nikon came out with theirs for $2,800 and kind of set that high-end price point. When it comes to focusing, it didn't seem to do great with like continuous tracking, like fast movement. When you were kind of coming to the camera, I don't know what your A9 III was set to in terms of the focus speed, but it seemed like it took a minute to kind of catch up with focus if you were moving fast.
Yeah, that's not a me issue. That's not a me. I didn't set that. That's definitely the lens.
Yeah, so I wouldn't expect to shoot like super fast action sports with a lens like this. Granted, photojournalism is fast action, so I could see having some issues with a lens like this, but still for the price, $1,000,
you're getting what you pay for.
You get what you pay for, exactly.
Like quality wise of the images, I have a 1.2. I was very happy with I love 35. 35 is a great angle for me. Mm-hmm. And having the 1.2, I'm a big fan of. Is there a big difference between a 1.2 and a 1.4? For most people, the answer is going to be no.
Not at all.
I like the look. I like the extra vignetting that I personally get because I got that with the 35 1.2 from Sigma. I love Nikon's 35 1.2. It's massive and it's heavy because all Nikon lenses seem to be like that. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's $1,000 lens. And when someone's trying to decide, do they want this 1.2 and they shoot for Sony, or should they consider for $400 more the 35 1.4 that Sony has, which then is a hell of a lot faster focusing, a really beautiful lens. You're not going to miss focus on that ever, in my opinion. Whereas with this Viltrox, focus is definitely not its biggest value. It's just not. I seemed to get things in focus, and it didn't seem to miss when I had subjects in front of me. But when it came to some moving action or shooting through the netting, it was thrown off by that. And modern lenses shouldn't be thrown off by the netting anymore.
And in terms of sharpness, it looked razor sharp, almost edge to edge, even wide open. It looked really solid. I will say there was some serious chromatic aberration when you were shooting like a golf club against the sky or something like that, or when you were bringing back some of the shadows and some of the images, since it was a lot of backlit images. But a lot of that's easily correctable in Lightroom these days, or any of your editing software.
That is correct. Good on them for producing something like this. I've said it that they've been able to start with really shitty lenses and work their way up to this in a short amount of time. And so they're really moving quick. It wouldn't be my choice of buying. Like, I wouldn't personally buy this myself. I just wouldn't. If I'm going to buy a 1.2, I'm buying the best of the best. I know I'm in a different position right now. I would rather see I guess the 35 1.4 is still more expensive than this. So
my question to you, if you're a Sony shooter, you only have one other option, which is the Sigma 1.2, 35 1.2. Would you go with the older Sigma, or would you go with the current Viltrox?
See, that's a tough one. A lot of the Bernie book is shot with the 35 1.2 with the A7 4, so A7 R4, and it crushed for that. The problem is, when I put that lens on the A1, it just looked soft. It just lost something. And I don't know if that was because of the stack sensor. I don't know if that was just how that camera shot. Because an A7 R4 is 61 megapixels and the A1 is 50, so you would expect to have the same, if it's sharp on one, it should be sharp on the other. There was something about it that just didn't work out for me. So it's hard to say whether I would get the new Sigma at this point. I don't know, $1,000 is still a lot of money to spend on not the greatest thing in since sliced bread. Quality wise, I was happy, but I don't know that it's necessary. Like, to me, it's like pros use 1.2s.
Oh, I agree. I want to say too, back to the Sigma conversation, I think that 35 1.2 was their first DG-DN lens for mirrorless.
I think it may have been.
I think it was the first, right? So they've come a long way in that 5 or 6 year. What was it, 2019 when that got released? So almost 6 years at this point. And if they put out a Mark II, I'm sure it will be smaller, lighter, much quicker in terms of focusing. I think of Sigma as more like competing with the G Master first-party lenses, where Viltrox is kind of replacing what Sigma used to be, more of the premium third-party brand. And again, this is available for the Z mount as well. So if you're a Nikon shooter, I mean, you're saving $1,800. Now, I don't expect it to be as good as the 35 1.2Z, but still, I mean, from a price standpoint, you can't beat that.
I have to run over to the bowling center, get ready for the day. Long day of... We're starting later. We're starting at call times like noon because we have to go till 9:30 or 10. Ugh. And I guess it's a 10-hour day, not 12. I'm used to just whatever. I mean, I'll do whatever because that's what I'm here for. But, when you have crew, they have their days, and that's what it is.
So are you guys shooting this like a reality show in terms of like nonstop shooting? You're rolling 24/7?
No, you're not rolling 24/7. You're cutting in between. You're looking for stuff. When they're bowling, it's tough because it's just the same shit repeated for 3.5 hours, and you're trying to get reactions someplace. And there was some sort of controversy that came over today that I was just told about, that I was trying to get comment from somebody on, but they don't want to comment on it because they've already had their say, is basically what they said. And the problem is we can't be everywhere at all times.
Of course.
Because our day, like, we cut yesterday and we didn't go to the second block, and I guess something so there's 2 blocks in a day. There's the morning session and the evening session. And we weren't there at the end of the day, which is probably where someone complained about something, and they would have done it publicly or behind the closed doors to someone. But, am I pissed that we can't cover it? Yeah, because we don't have the budget right now to have a crew there all the time just in case something happens. And it's frustrating. That shit's frustrating that you can't be there all day as one crew. You need overlap where a crew starts in the morning and goes through lunch and goes till 6, does their 10 or 12 hours, and then you have a secondary crew that comes in and is there to shoot and be there just in case something happens. We're not able to do that right now. I would stay for both, right? But I'm not wired for mic, sound. We would need a separate sound guy. That's just how it is.
Of course,
you would need another crew, and that's how these other people will have multiple. They'll have like 3 sound people. They'll have 3 shooters throughout the day, and they're rotating and
constant coverage.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It comes down to budget. And if we weren't there to be there, then we weren't there to be there. It's not going to make or break it this time around, but in the future, when bowling is happening, like you're going to have to be there because you never know when shit's going to happen, or you need someone there. And so that's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's the name of the game. If you don't have the money, the budget, you're going to eventually, inevitably miss some stuff.
And that's how it works. And that's where we're at. So I got to go get ready to get over there. We've gotten great stuff. So we have what we need, but it's like when you get those blow up moments, or you don't get those blow up moments because you're not there, it's frustrating.
Of course.
That's where I'm leaving it, Steven. You got anything else to add today?
No, just that next week I most likely will not be on. I will be on a mini vacation, so it will most likely be a flying solo episode with Jared.
We'll see what I come up with. I got something up my sleeve. I just got to make it work.
Oh, hey, okay.
And I might do. I didn't talk about the flying, not the flying solos, but the daily fro thing, which obviously isn't daily, but occasionally when I have something to say that isn't really raw talkable, I just want to come in and get my say in.
And I think that's great. I think as long as we don't repeat the exact same thing on this show, then I'm all about it. Or if you want to just do a quick summary and then point people in that direction, because there's certain shows that I follow that have kind of a secondary show as well, and they end up. I hear the same stories twice, and I'm like, why am I even listening? Why do you guys have separate shows? Because you just talk about the exact same things. But as long as you keep it separate, all about it.
I hate when that happens. I really do. I'm like, I already heard this and the same exact thing. Don't repeat it on both shows. So. All right, I got to get out of here. I thank you guys very much for listening. This episode number 147, Jared Polin, PhotoSphoto.com. See ya.
Bye.